Hey everyone, it's that time. It's time for CAASPP summative testing. I'm sure many of you have already been practicing and going through this site and know how to start the session, etc. But let me run you through some steps in case you have forgotten. It's been a while, or maybe you're one of our new teachers and this is your first year CAASPP testing. How exciting for you. So listen, we start at caaspp.org, and when it's time for the summative test, the real one, you're going to go here to test administrator interface. But what I want to show you right now is something that I totally recommend you do before it's time to start summative testing. And that is walk your kids through a practice test or a training test, have them sign in, go through the whole thing with them because they can. So instead, I'm going to click on practice and training tests here. And when I do this, I want this button with the apple. Test administrator, test examiner, practice and training site. That's the one. And when I click here, I'm going to need to sign in. Hang on a sec. Ooh, not morgue. Okay. So after being signed in, this is exactly what the screen looks like if you go to that other button for CAASPP summative testing. The training is an exact duplicate for you. So I want you to notice on this screen, if you're in class doing it, start your active session. But did you know, and maybe this is new for this year, maybe I just don't remember it from last year, you can schedule your sessions. So that's an option if you feel really passionately about it. My thought, just do an active session when you're ready to start. It's not that big of a deal. Now, when I click starting a new session, you probably won't have this option, but I'm in more than one school. So if you need to check your school, then do that. What I want you to notice are these two categories. Now, the Smarter Balance practice test and training test, you might not be aware of what the difference is. So let me explain. The practice test is 30 questions. It's a regular grade level test. If I click on the arrow, I can choose language arts or math, the computer adaptive, or the performance task. Those are going to be pretty similar to what the regular summative test is. Same thing for math. Okay. But I want you to consider, how do I go back? Maybe the back arrow. The training test is shorter. It's, I think it's like 5 questions, maybe 6 or 7, just to kind of, if you want to talk through the process of here's how we do it, here how the tools work, the training test is ideal because look, it's grade level band. So if there's a question that's too hard, it's probably for a different grade level. We're just practicing here. So the training test is really developed to be short and let you talk through the tools and the process, okay, to show how you can expand your screen, how the text box gets bigger. You don't just write a couple words because the box seems small, it'll expand. Those are the kinds of things to show your students. So I'm going to show you a training test today, and I'm going to go here. Now notice, hang on. Notice we have, excuse me, this option. Most of us are in person. Our Wainimi at Home people, you're going to choose remote. And I might make a separate video for you Wainimi at Home friends to see exactly how that works. But I'm going to leave this in person and I'm going to start my practice session. Now this should look really familiar. Let me move that back because we've got our session code, but notice it starts with train. It doesn't start with CA. Okay, so I'm ready to go. Students need to sign in. It's very difficult to get screenshots or a video of students signing in because they have to be signed out. So I'm going to do this. Here's what it looks like when students need to sign in, and I'll send you these slides so you can use them with your students if you need to. The first thing they do is sign out. They cannot be signed into their Chromebook to use the secure browser. Hang on, okay. It's going to have a pop-up, sign out now, yes. And then they're not going to shut down, although having them shut down and restart their Chromebook before they test or the day before is a really solid idea to make sure they've got a fresh restart, no months worth of stuff. Just have them restart before testing. It'll make things run better. But in this case, they're going to go to apps. Now, the only thing that's in apps is Secure Test Browser. So this sign-in screen, they're going to choose Apps, Secure Test Browser. And then it seems to take maybe 15 seconds to load. It goes through some processes. Prepare them for that so they don't get anxious and think they need to click ahead. If they Control Alt S, it's just going to open the Chrome browser and they're going to have to do it again. So you don't even need to mention that to them. I'm just telling you. Okay, but it does take a second to load, and then they'll see a screen like this. Okay, this is where they can stop, show you your screen. If you see this blue banner, This is for CAASPP testing. That's for the summative. Okay. So the blue is for the summative testing. What we want to do before the test, though, is go to the practice and training site. So have them click there. And then it's going to change their screen to this, to the green banner, which is the practice and training. Okay. Now, usually the guest user and guest session, it says on, and this is so that they can just, you don't even have to sign in. They can just go right into it. And you might be used to using it that way. Okay. But did you know, and this is what I recommend you try before the actual test, to just walk them through the process. If you toggle that to off, they can click where it says on and make it say off. Now they can sign in. They can toggle this. You can't see it on the screenshot, but if they toggle this to off below, it's going to give them a place to enter that session code. Okay. So if you don't already have your SSIDs, you should talk to your administrator and get information about that. I don't know how every school's doing it, but the same, their first name and their SSID. If you happen to have a student whose name prints with a special character, like an accent or a tilde on their name, talk to your administrator about that, because sometimes that causes conflicts and we try to fix it. I think we've fixed all of them, but if you happen to notice that, be aware of it. Don't anyways, I'm going to stop there. Anyways, you should get your name, the first name and SSID, I think, from your administrator. Okay. The session code, remember, we have that. Okay. So I have a Chromebook right here that's signed in. I'm going to enter the session code. Train is automatically filled in. 264866, and then I'm going to sign in. Okay, I've got is this you? And you have this, yes, that's my first name. Yes, I am in 4th grade. Yes, that is my school. Yes, that's me. So I clicked yes. It's going to have your tests. Choose the test. Okay, so the student has a screen that says waiting for approval. And now we're going to wait, because I think you guys probably know what's going to happen up here. Let's see if I refresh. There we go. Here's my approval. Okay, so I'm going to come in here, click here. I can wait until the list populates. I can wait till I have a bunch of students here. I can wait till I see however many of my students ready, so that I'm not approving them at different times. But here's your approval screen. Okay. I'm going to blur that out. You're not going to see who this is. And now I'm ready to approve. So I can either check mark here for some of them. If I notice how this is that 3 through 5 training test, and this is true on the summative also. If I notice that it's not the right test, I don't know how they do that if you didn't choose more than one, but crazy things happen. If you notice it's not the right test, no problem. Just click the X and go, oopsies, let's try it again. Okay, so you have that. But when you have a whole list, you can refresh and make sure you've got the most recent. You can approve all students. Okay, and then, okay, class, we're ready to go. We're going to start yes. Okay, I'm looking at the student screen. The student screen has that wonderful, did you hear that? I get a little bit of, it's CAASPP time when I hear that sound. Okay, so I click yes, I can hear it, and yes, I can see the video moving, and then begin test now. Okay, so now the students in the test, it looks just like the regular one. I can show them all the features, how to expand the text, how to do all the things. I'm going to answer the first 2 questions. I don't know if this is new this year, but when I'm looking at the question side, there are tabs at the top, tab 1 and tab 2. I'm really glad I'm doing this training test to talk them through that, because during the test, that just adds anxiety. All right, so I've done that. I'm going to click next at the top. Now let's see. Can you see my progress? There we go. So you can see who's making progress. I think that refresh is probably just for the approvals. Okay, now make sure you get information from your administrator about when to use the pause and when not to use the pause. There are all kinds of details that I'm not sharing here. So make sure you get those answers from your administrator. But I definitely wanted to show you how to use that practice and training button, come in and start a session using the Apple, and then get used to this, but also give your students the opportunity to practice signing in and seeing how it all works. All right. I hope that was helpful to you. I'm going to send this video along with some slides and PDFs so that you have everything you need. Let me know if you need anything. If you have any issues with students, putting in a ticket is a really good way to get Chromebooks fixed, student accounts fixed if needed. We are definitely aware that we want to make sure all Chromebooks are doing what they need to do. So put in that ticket with as much detail as you can as soon as you find anything out. All right. Have a great month of May, because June is after that. All right. We'll see you later.